Hello and welcome to Knitting on the Float. My name is Tracy and I'm your host. I am coming to you from a gorgeous day in the Vancouver area. The sun is out. I was just outside a few minutes ago. The Canada geese are up on the flats and they've got cute little goslings. I captured some footage to put in later in the podcast. May, I love springtime. So it is May. It has been a very, very long time since we sat down and caught up, and there is a lot of catching up to do today. I've got some knitting and sewing on the couch beside me. I have a couple of things to share on brown paper packages, and I have lots of life updates to share as well on bits and bobs. So I hope you've got some time. It might take a while. I am so glad to finally be sitting down again after so long. It has been a wonderful past year, and who would have thought a year ago when I was doing May vlogs that my life would have changed so much, but lots of exciting things have happened. As I mentioned, I will mention those in bits and bobs. Anyway, let's get to the rest of the introduction so that we can get some tea in and then start chattering about the things beside me. If you would like to find me, I am Tracy RR on Ravelry, and I am at Knitting on the Float on Instagram. If you're new to the podcast, this used to be a weekly podcast, but I went back to school this past September, and life has taken over. Knitting has still been happening, crafting has still been happening, but on a much reduced scale. But I still have some very, very exciting things to share. So if you're new, welcome, and I hope that you enjoy the podcast today. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for your patience with me, and I'm so glad to have you back today. It's been a while, but I hope you remember the drill, and it is to get your cup of whatever requisite beverage, whether it is hot, whether it is cold. It just needs to be yummy, soothing, and just something wonderful to drink while we chatter. Today I am drinking out of a brand new mug that you've seen, but I've had it since about Christmas time. My sister-in-law and I went to a place called Steveston, and I've taken you there on the podcast before, and it's a little community just on the coast of the Vancouver, Richmond area. And this is Born to be Wild. I love my Rendale Designs mugs, and I allowed myself one more mug. That's what I say, just one more. I now have, I believe, 12 of the small ones, and then there's ones that, these are the 11 ounce, and then I think there's 14 ounce, and I've got 3 of those. So my cupboard is full. I may not have any more Rendale Designs, even though I really want the owl, but no more Rendale Design mugs allowed. Anyway, this cute little fox just had to come live with me. And today I am drinking the Yorkshire Blends Toast and Jam Tea, which smells delicious, tastes delicious, and I absolutely love. So, it has been a while. Let us cheer to lots of catching up and a wonderful day, wherever you are, whenever you watch this. Cheers to that. I'm not gonna lie, that is not my first cup of tea today. In the past, when I used to podcast, I used to get up Thursday mornings, do a little bit of straightening, and then I'd make my cup of tea, set up the area, set you up on the tripod, and my cheers would be the first sip of the day. Today, that kitchen needed a much bigger clean than it normally does, and I've been up for a while. I had to wait for the sun to go, and I just had to kind of get the gumption to get going on the podcast. So this is, I think, my 3rd cup of tea today, but the first time I'm using this mug. I used another mug earlier in the day. Anyway, I have a lot of things to talk about on the couch today. I've got quite a few works in progress. I do have a couple of finished objects. One of them has gone to its new home, but I do have a photograph and I will chatter about that when I get to another project. But first off, I think I will start off with this lovely project bag here, which was made for me by my friends Chris and Sam. Chris did the bag and Sam did the beautiful embroidery. And inside this project, oh no, I didn't work on this project at all. So no, we can't talk about this one. We don't talk about Bruno. These are my Slytherin mitts, and I have not done any work on them. I've taken them a couple of places with me to get work done, but epic fail, that didn't happen. I do have, oh, you know what? It's in the knitting drawer. The project that actually got a tiny bit of work has been living in my Stitching Plaza Haunted Mansion bag, and this has those fun little villains in the stretching portraits. And these are my rose petal socks. This is a pattern by Danielle George, and I originally started these before we left Toronto, before we moved from Toronto. And I'm a tiny bit farther along on sock one. It was a test knit, but all I had to get done was this section here up to the heel flap, and I did get that done. And since then I've done the heel flap and I've done my heel turn and I've started doing the gusset. I'm almost through the gusset, not quite, but this project takes a little bit of brain work. So that's why it keeps getting put on the back burner. My goal for the summer is to have this pair of socks done because they are gorgeous and I love the colors. This is knit with a gorgeous skein of Viola yarns in spruce. And then I've used a couple of Nora George yarns as my highlights. So on the rim of the cuff, this gorgeous pink, and then my toe will be done in this aqua color. I believe this was from the Modern Christmas mini set. So a tiny bit of work done on these. Not as much as I thought I had done when I pulled it out of the bag, but at least a little bit. And I guess hopefully keeping me honest. So in addition to my Slytherin mitts, I have this project that I would like to spend time on. And my summer goals really are to get some of these whips done, free my needles, and those are two projects that I definitely want to get done. I do have a couple of cast-ons, or at least one cast-on that I'd like to do, but I definitely need to get those whips done. Let me share with you a project that got, again, just a tiny bit of love, but I don't even think you've seen it since I really started it. This is my Christmas Eve cast on, or maybe I shared a little bit, and it is in a beautiful bag by Jules Hill, who is so sweet Violet, and her daughter Bryony puts these beautiful little sequins on, and I just love the velvet bags. This is my second of the trifle wraps, and that was a pattern from Helen Stewart, who is Curious Handmade, and I do a lot of test knitting for Helen. And I did do a 20 mini trifle wrap for Knit Vent this year, but I wanted to use some gorgeous yarns from Beehive Yarns, and I wanted to use the Wednesday Halloween box. So I have started with the Wednesday box. So this is the first color completely done, and I've started adding in the second skein, but the first and second skeins really aren't terribly different. So the first skein was right, let's see if we can get some focusing happening. There, that was the first one. So I've only got a tiny bit left. And the great thing about the trifle wrap is it uses most of your minis, and then it goes into this second mini, which is now attached to my trifle wrap. So they're very, very similar in color, these two. And I'm holding it double with some hedgerow, I want to say this is a silk yak, but I would have to double check, but it's a natural colorway. And I just thought it would look really nice with those dark, moody colors of the Halloween box from Beehive Yarns. And let me just see. This is Baby Yak Cloud, so yes, it was yak. And it is so soft and so fuzzy, and I think I don't want to accidentally lose stitches, because that would be devastating, wouldn't it? Anyway, that is my work so far on the trifle wrap. Still lots to do. There are 13 minis in the box, so my plan is to do all 13, and it'll be a shorter trifle wrap, but that's okay because my big trifle wrap was large and I had only done 20 minis, so I can't imagine with 24 I probably would have been tripping on it. So I think 13 will be a nice number. So that is living in my gorgeous bear bag by So Sweet Violet. And again, a whip that I intend to spend a little bit of time with this summer. So there we are, piled onto the knitting table for me to say, pick it up, start knitting. And then I have goals for another project. Now this one has not had any knitting done since you last saw it. And this is my Chou Sui wrap, and that's a pattern by Susanna Summer. And it is in another So Sweet Violet bag, my Celebrating Mice bag. And this is a project that I am using some gorgeous hedgerow yarns in singles. And I am using this gorgeous Viola lace. Actually, it's not lace, it is merino singles as well. There we go. And this one is called Thistle, and this one here is called Glacier. And I just love how they are knitting up together. It has been a while since I have visited this project, and I'm so excited to know that I will be spending some time with it this summer. I do have my lockers on here, so hopefully I don't lose any stitches. The Chou Sui shrug, and let's see if I've got a picture. There we do. There we do. There we go. I do have a picture. And this is the Chou Sui shrug. It has this wonderful checklist on the back, so I should hopefully be able to pick it up and just start knitting again, remembering how this brioche stitch works again. I love how this is knitting up. I believe the Glacier is my color 1 and the Thistle is my color 2. I hope I wrote it down because I can't remember at the moment, but I think this is going to be absolutely gorgeous when it's done. And the nice thing about the Chou Sui shrug is it is reversible. I enjoy brioche, I really do, but it does take a little bit of time and thought, so another reason why this project has been put on the back burner for the past little while. To be honest, I've just needed to work on fairly simple things recently, and you'll see huge amounts of progress on one of my projects in a moment. Anyway, that is another project piled up on the knitting table that I am excited to work on this summer. Oh, the tugboats are going by. Tugaway and Logger are just fighting the current going upstream. Okay, I have one more knitting whip that has gotten a little bit of work, but I actually would like to have this done by next week. So I've got goals. So that means I probably won't be sharing this with you again unless I take a photograph. This is living in a bag made by, I can picture her right now. Sweet Sparrow Yarns, I believe. And I just love this fabric. And this is a pair of scrappy socks that I started years ago. I don't even think I've got it documented on my Ravelry page. I was just using leftover scraps, mainly Nora George yarns, and I have been knitting them concurrently, but I would love to free up both of these sets of needles. I have started on the gusset of the first sock, and I have finished the heel flap and heel turn of the second sock, and I've just been using lovely reds and pinks, and I'm currently using, I believe this is Titania, which is an MCN base, and I've got this gorgeous soft pink for the toe. I think those will flow in very nicely together. I'm not sure whether I will just continue knitting the whole foot or whether I'll find another color, because these are scrappy, whether I'll just add in another color or not. I think this is one color, this is another color, and then I worked here, and then there was another one. I think there's actually, the best way to tell actually would be turn it inside out and see how many different colors I have. Actually, that first section here is one color. I believe that was a Christmas colorway. And then I did a section there in a lovely peach. And then I moved on to the next section, which included, I think, the entire heel flap and heel turn. And as I mentioned, I'm now using this beautiful skein here. So I think, you know what, just for getting them done, ease of use, I may just do the whole foot in this colorway and then switch over to this beautiful pink for the toe. It's been a very long time. I know I started these in Toronto many, many years ago, so they need some love. And my plan is to have these knit for next week and give these to my sister for her birthday. So, best laid plans, hopefully they get done. And that will mean I will free up 2 sets of 2.25 needles, and that will be wonderful. Again, another bag to throw on the knitting table. And I have one more project that I'm going to talk about that I worked on. We had a couple of snow days here in Vancouver in late January, and I made a couple of things. I made some pajama bottoms, and I also made this dress, and it's made out of linen. This is the Merchant & Mills trapeze dress, and I have to tell you, doing the facing was intense. It's lots of turning around and trying to sew in little bits. So, but I did it, and I was quite pleased with how it turned out. This is not a finished object though, even though it looks like it, because I have not hemmed it. How long would it take me to do? Not long. This has been sitting, waiting for me to pick it up, figure out where I want the hem, and finish it off since January. So again, another hopeful thing to do for the summer, and it would be really great if I could do this in the next couple of weeks, because it would be great to wear this throughout the summer. Anyway, I used some linen from IKEA, and just some linen I had purchased and had in my stash, and I've been wanting to, I've had the trapeze dress pattern for years, since we were in Toronto. So I laid it out on the countertop there and sewed this dress up. For the most part, it was simple, except the facing was definitely very, very challenging. Anyway, that, another work in progress, which is almost done. And again, it won't take me long. I hate doing hems. I want to do a blind hem as well. So I need to remember how to do that, watch some YouTube videos. YouTube. So great. Anyway, there, another thing for the summer. The next thing I'm going to share with you is my Bits and Bobs blanket that I've been using scraps on. And I have spent a lot of time on this project. So I started this last June, and I think the last time that I shared this with you, I was probably just in this orange section here. I might have even been in the pink. I have now added the aqua, and this is the remainder of yarn that I used for my Christmas Eve cast on socks, the pattern that I test knit for Danny. And I'm going to have to write the name of the socks down because I can't quite remember the name of them, but I loved the yarn so much and the socks were lovely too, but I wanted to put my special yarns into this blanket. So the remainder of, and it was a Beehive Yarns celebration. So that was put in, and then I had two different greens, and I don't know if you can tell the difference between the two or not. One is more of a bluey green, and then the other one is more with green blue. And then I had some whites with shots of colors, bright colors, and then some duller colors. And then I had, I think it was a robin's egg color in there. And now I'm into a blue and into purples. And I'm just using leftover yarns that I've used on different sock patterns or patterns that I've really loved. And I've tried to incorporate some of my favorites into this Bits and Bobs blanket. Now the Bits and Bobs is a pattern by K.F. Jones of the Bakery Bears. And I love knitting on this pattern. It's just so simple, comforting. It's just back and forth. It's really, I'm not going to say boring because I keep coming back to it, but it's just very soothing, I think would probably be, you know, but it's not, it takes a little bit of thought, but not a whole lot. And if you make a mistake, it's not glaring at you. But this is the squishiest blanket, and I love it. I have one that I've already done that is here in the house. It's actually right here, and I used Nora George yarns for this one, an Advent, and then some skeins of Super Sock that I had multiple of. And this is the blanket that everybody grabs for in the house, and then there's a beautiful I-cord edging on it. So this was my first one, and I loved it so much. Last spring, last June, I cast this one on, and then later in June or early July, I can't remember which, I cast on a second one, and I finished that one. That was a gift for my sister-in-law and her family, and when they were here at Christmas time, everybody kept grabbing that blanket there. I was still working on their Bits and Bobs. I was able to take it to them in April and give it to them, and all the ends were sewn in by my mom, which was wonderful. And I got the I-cord done, and I also even put a little tag on it. It's beautiful, and I'll pop a photograph of the finished Bits and Bobs there. That finished Bits and Bobs, I used my 2019 Nora George Yarns Advent, and I held it double with some Christmas themed skeins from Hedgerow Yarns that had stellina in them. So it's got a little bit of sparkle. And I didn't talk about the second, so I've talked about the leftover yarns that I've used for the main color shifts, but I am holding my yarns double with some beautiful Hedgerow sock blanks that I've had for many, many years. They've been in my stash so long, and they've also got stellina in them. So there's some sparkle in here, which I don't think the camera's picking up on right now, but it's really nice when the light's just right and you're knitting on this blanket and the sparkle comes. So this is my, I think this is the 5th sock blank that I've now got in there. I do have a 6th one in case I decide I want to add more, because I wouldn't mind this blanket being bigger, but I also wouldn't mind having this blanket finished either, because it is getting quite big and it does stretch out. So that rib is squishy, stretchy, and just, oh, so wonderful. Anyway, this is my bits and bobs that has been getting pretty much most of my attention this late winter, spring, and definitely the past couple of weeks has been getting pretty much all of my attention. So hopefully the next time we visit, if I'm not finished this, I will be very, very close. So the colors right now, I showed you the sock blank that I was using. I am currently holding it double with this pink, and I believe this is a Nora George yarns that I would have used in, might be Cherry Blossom, and I would have used this in one of the Sock Society patterns. And the next one that I'm going to be adding in is this wonderful, wonderful magenta. So it's going to go from this light pink into this purple, and I'm hoping I have enough in the sock blank, but if I don't, that's okay. I've got another sparkly sock blank that I can use, but just, oh, I love this project. So goals, to get through these 2, and then I'll figure out whether I'm going to add more or whether that's good. And then I have to figure out what my I-cord edging will look like, because the I-cord edging just looks like magic on this project. And then I have all of the ends to sew in. I'm not looking forward to that part. I just am not. I-cord edging, I don't mind. The ends, well, there's a reason that they haven't been sewn in yet. At least it will be less than an Advent one where you've got 24 minis. This one I just knit until I ran out of the ball of yarn. I have one more project to share with you. This is a very, very special project, and it has a destination, which is why it was very important for me to sit down and podcast today. In my lovely bird leg bags basket bag, I have the 24 Birds test knit, and I used wonderful Louie and Lola yarns, and I used a set of 3, a sort of a gradient, along with a bright, it's not really bright, a beautiful rich green. So I used Peaches and Cream as my color A. My color B was Grapefruit. Colors, and that's grapefruit there. And this is the Merino Nylon Sock. Color C was a colorway called O'Reilly's. And oh, there's the, I was wondering where the ball band was for that. So the O'Reilly's right there, I don't think that's focusing, there we are, was merino singles. So where 3 of my skeins were a merino and nylon blend, the 3rd color that I chose was straight merino on singles. And then my final color was blood orange. There we are. So I guess I should show you what those colors look like. So we started off with Peaches and Cream, which is looking like a big mess right now. And then that shifted into Grapefruit. I love grapefruit. And then the singles of O'Reilly's. And then my final color was this gorgeous blood orange. So those are my 3. I did kind of wonder what it would have looked like if I had gone A, B, C, and then added the D, but I did it this way instead. So I'll never know, and that's okay. This is the 24 Birds pie shawl, and this was a mystery knit along. And in the past, I have shared my progress with you as I've been knitting it, but because I went back to school this year, I was knitting this while doing final exams and final presentations, so I did not share anything until today. I do have pictures up on Ravelry, but I haven't even posted on Instagram. This is my beautiful 24 Birds pie shawl. There is a 12 Birds half pie shawl version as well. I thought about doing it, but time was not on my side, so I just stuck with the 24 Birds. But it starts off with this beautiful flower in the center here, and then it expands out, 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 and it is just so huge. And there's the, if you had chosen to do it as a half pie, it would kind of look like this. I'll lean back, maybe you can see it. It's so hard to capture a pie shawl. Anyway, these are the colors that I chose, and I love how they've knit up. As I said, I do kind of wonder how it would have looked if instead of the green, I had put the blood orange there and then switched it around. But I actually really love this section in the blood orange. So again, we'll never know, but I do love how the center just in the peaches and cream and then into the pink grapefruit. I just love how that looks. And it just has such a beautiful edging, the nice little pulled out sections. I was very thankful that the day I had to block it, it was a gorgeous day. I put my mats outside and I was in a bit of a rush to get it blocked because we were about to go away, and I was able to get it out there, pin it down, and it was dry within a couple of hours. So very happy that I'm finally able to share this with you. Now, this has a very special destination. It is knit with Louie and Lola yarns, and the dyer of Louie and Lola yarns is Karina, who is in Tasmania, and every October she has been doing a fundraiser for breast cancer research, and she has been doing that along with Thread and Maple and the Grocery Girls. And I have donated shawls to the fundraiser the past couple of years. My anthology shawl was donated 2 years ago, and then last year I donated one shawl to Karina and one to the Grocery Girls for the fundraiser. This year, this is going to be what is given to Karina to put in the daily draws and as one of the prizes. So I am very excited that it is done, and I am super excited to be able to give this to Karina in person. I will be heading to Toronto next week, and I'm going to go to my first yarn show. I've never been to a yarn show before. I kind of find the big crowds a little bit overwhelming, so, which is, I guess, kind of funny, but I don't know, makes me a little bit uncomfortable, I suppose, even though I can sometimes handle it. But I think in a yarn show, I don't know, I've been feeling a little bit nervous about going to yarn shows in the past. So I'm going to my first yarn show. It's going to be Knit City in Toronto, which means I am flying from Vancouver to Toronto, and I'm going to be helping Karina in her booth. So I'm really excited about that. So I think it'll be just a little bit more calming to be helping out in a booth rather than wandering around and breathing in all those yarn fumes. So I will be bringing this with me. I'm not sure whether Karina will display it or not, but I am definitely so excited to finally meet her in person. Karina and I originally met when I first started podcasting, and we started chatting online. We did a yarn swap many years ago before she started dyeing yarns, and I remember when she messaged me one time saying, I think I'm going to give yarn dyeing a try. And now, not only did she give it a try, she is doing the most beautiful, beautiful work. And oh, her yarns are so wonderful to work with. So definitely something very exciting to look forward to for me. And I get to give this to her in person. I keep joking around about how I'm going to save on the mail costs. I know I'm flying to Toronto, not quite saving, but I get to give this to her in person, which is really, 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 really exciting. So this will be coming with me to Toronto, which meant I absolutely had to share it with you today. And can I just mention how wonderfully my bag and my project went together? At least I think they did. So those are the things that I've been working on, the things that I hope to work on this summer, and a couple of finished objects, this and my bits and bobs. So where knitting has been reduced, there's still been some going on behind the scenes, but oh, my beautiful 24 birds. It is going to fly to Toronto, and then it's going to fly to Tasmania. It has an adventure ahead of it. It's now time for brown paper packages, and a couple of weeks ago, I am going to Toronto next week, but I also went a couple of weeks ago. We went for a family wedding, and we had some lovely time with our family in Toronto as well. So while I was there, I may have stopped in at the Knitting Loft. Yes, I did. And I bought a couple of things. So not huge things to share with you, but just a couple. And I am hoping, I mentioned earlier that I'm hoping to do at least one cast on this summer, and I'd like to cast on an Elton sweater. I already have a cardigan. I'd like to knit the sweater. And I have been thinking about knitting with the twist mini little shorties, and but I didn't want to buy the whole kit, so I just purchased a few of the sizes. I got two. I can't read the numbers on this. This is a 3mm and a 4mm. And okay, so the 3 and the 3.5. This is actually for my Elton cardigan. I also picked up a 2.25. I keep wanting to try to knit small circumference socks, so we'll see how that goes. And then I think my I wanted to use this on my chou shui shrug on the sleeves, so I picked these up as well. So I picked up 4 twist shorties, and these 2 would have been from the blue set, and these 2 would have been from the red set, so I figured I would rather try them out from both sets rather than buy both sets because they are pricey. And if I like them, I can always buy a set, or I can always just buy more of these small ones. And they come with a 2-inch stock and a 3-inch stock, and then a small cable, or 2 small cables for each one. And then there is a little tightener as well that goes in them. I gave my mom a couple of the tighteners for her convertible set that she has. Anyway, that is something I picked up. And then I picked up one more thing from the Knitting Loft, and I wish I had picked something else up. I wish I had gotten the bigger skein of this, but I love this color. This neon pinky orange is just one of my favorite neon colors, and I just thought it would look really nice as like a top rim of socks. Very similar to, and of course it's buried under everything right now, but very similar to my rose petal sandwich socks. And I just love the idea of doing a pair of socks in this colorway. So I picked up a 50-gram skein of La Bien-Aimée in the merino super sock. So 50 grams. I kind of wish I had grabbed 100 grams, and this is the Floral Morganite colorway. Yes, I got it right. Floral Morganite, and I think it would look really nice as like little rims on sleeves or on necklines, or again on sock lines. So I got this more as a highlight color. I think it would look fabulous with a really nice purple or any color. I just love, love, love this. So I did pick this up. There's one more thing I wished I had picked up while I was there, and I did try, but unfortunately the traffic was so bad on the way to the airport, I wasn't able to make it there before closing time. So that will have to wait until next time when I'm in Toronto, which will be in a week's time. So I have an idea of what I want to buy, and it's fluffy, and it might go towards my Elton sweater. We'll see. Anyway, that is blowing out like crazy, but oh, I just love that color neon. I don't know why. Anyway, that is everything on the couch. So all of my whips, well, not all of my purchases, but the ones I'm going to share with you. I did get some fabric as well because I've been making some pajama bottoms. Can one have enough pajama bottoms? I don't think so, but that didn't make the couch today. Anyway, that is enough anyway, isn't it? It's now time for Bits and Bobs, and this is my segment where I talk about anything and everything, not necessarily knitting related. And yes, the past few months have been spent knitting and knitting and knitting away on Bits and Bobs, the one that I gifted to my sister-in-law and her lovely family, and then this fun one that I'm using all of my favorite yarns. And I started that on my anniversary last year, so my goal is to finish it by my anniversary this year, so that's in June. Bits and Bobs. Oh my goodness, it's been a while since we sat down, so lots has happened. If you've been here before, you know that I went back to school last September, and I have completed year one of the musical theater program. It is a 3-year program, so 2 more years to go, but I made it through year one. There were many days I kind of thought, am I even going to make it through week one, let alone semester one, let alone year one? But I did it, and I am very proud to say that I made the Dean's List both semesters, and I've learned a lot of hard work, meant not knitting as much as I would have liked to have, but I think I'm singing better. I'm definitely dancing better than I did in September. Before this year, I had never taken a dance lesson in my life. So I've been doing ballet, tap, and jazz. I continue to do tap lessons with a group of adults on Thursday evenings, and I'm enjoying that a lot. I get to wear my beautiful tap shoes, and they are really, really beautiful. And while I'm not doing ballet or jazz this summer, I am going to yoga. I started a yoga regime last week, and I've been very good. I've been going every single day. My favorite one is the stretch and relaxation. And well, I can't quite get my feet behind my ears in my head yet. I don't know that I ever will. I am getting a little bit more flexible, and I'm enjoying the yoga class. It's not too far from home, and it's 8:15 every evening, and I go and I lay down, and then I do all the stretches. It's hot yoga, so I'm sweaty and gross. I've also been throwing in a couple of yoga classes which are a little bit more active, where I come out just feeling absolutely disgusting because, you know, I'm all dripping and gross with sweat, but I feel good inside, just feel kind of disgusting. Anyway, I've been doing that, and I want to definitely make sure that I am keeping up my fitness and working on my flexibility and strength over the summer. So I've been joking around with people. I don't even know if it's joking. It's my job this summer is yoga, and I need to continue it in order to make sure that when I go back to school in September, I am not absolutely out of shape. So been doing that and living in athleisure, which I'm getting kind of bored with, but yeah, yoga pants and lots of t-shirts, but could be worse. I need to get some more knitwear in there. Anyway, my plans this summer, yoga, catching up on all the knitting, getting some of those whips done. I still have my, I called it my gathering dust wrap, but it's not that. It's the gathering driftwood wrap. I'm still trying to decide whether I'm going to continue knitting on that or not. I look at it, it's beautiful. I would like to finish it. I would wear it, but it is a lot more knitting to be done. I also went fabric shopping with a friend last week for some fabrics for pajamas, and I know I didn't share those on the podcast. They were flannel, they were cute. One had they were green with little sheep on them, and another one was blue with lemons on it. So I didn't share that. But I love the pajama pattern by Closet Core, and it's, I'll pop the name down, what the name of it is, but they're nice, baggy, and comfortable pajamas. So easy to sew up, and a great use of fabric. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. School, knitting plans, yoga, lots of yoga. I will be flying to Toronto next week to go to Knit City. I'm excited about that. I will also be going to see the musical Six with my sister. I asked her for her birthday whether she wanted tickets to Six or that pair of socks, the ones that are in here. You know what she said? She's very cheeky. Both. So I'm taking her to see Six, and that's why I'm also hopefully finishing off these lovely socks so that I can take these with her. And I have to make sure I sew in all the ends, and there will be a few, as we learned as I turned that sock inside out. When am I going to podcast next? I don't know. I think I would like to try to podcast every 2 weeks, but since next week I'm flying to Toronto and I'll be there for a week, we might be on a 3-week timeline for that one. So this will be done, and I'll have to have a photograph of it, and we'll see what other projects I get done. I think I'm going to just play it by ear over the summer. I do enjoy sitting down with you, but I'm not quite sure of how the timeline is going to look at this point. Another thing I'm going to do this summer is I'm going to continue working with my vocal coach. So I will be doing some singing. I've got my lesson tomorrow, so where I would have liked to have normally sat down on a Thursday to podcast, we turned into Wednesday today, although yoga tonight, so I'm not sure when I'm going to edit. It might be tomorrow that this goes up. It might be today. Who knows? Whenever it goes up, it'll be a big surprise because it's been forever since I podcast. Scout has come over here to say hello, and you gonna come up? Maybe she will, maybe she won't. Scout has come up for a quick hello on Bits and Bobs, and she needs a very, very good brushing. And I have one, I mentioned it earlier in the podcast, I was outside earlier and the Canada geese had their little goslings out there, so I will pop that clip in here, and that will be it for Bits and Bobs today. It's that time of year again when the big geese have the little ones, and this set of parents here has 11 little ones. It's very, very low tide right now, so I'll zoom you down. I'm just on the shared dock right now. And yes, it is super, super low tide. I don't think we're grounding yet. Oh, and just in front of us, here comes another set of parents with their 3 little ones walking across the mud flat. They're enjoying the fact that they can't swim, but they can certainly get a lot to eat up on the land. Anyway, this is my current view right off of the float home. And it is a beautiful day in the Vancouver area. Things are very, very green. And the little ones are definitely abounding and running after their parents. Thank you so much for joining me on Knitting on the Float this week, this month, I think this year so far. And I hope to sit down with you very, very soon. In the meantime, I hope that you are enjoying whatever you are crafting on and that you have a wonderful, wonderful day. And again, I'll see you soon. And hopefully I will have made some progress on some of these projects that I've shared with you today. I do plan on picking something up at the Knitting Loft, which I will share on our next podcast, hopefully. And unless, of course, I've got so many other things that, I just find it too overwhelming. But I think I will share that with you. And if I can get the skein that I want. And maybe I'll have some other beautiful things to share from Knit City as well. Have a wonderful day, evening, whatever time it is for you, and I will see you soon. Bye. I forgot to share something I bought. It was in the bag, and of course, it was one of those things that I forgot I bought too, but I bought buttons because, you can never have too many buttons, can you? And these ones are just too cute. Do I have any idea what project I'm going to use them on? No, but I'm sure at some point I'll figure that out. In the meantime, button jars, they're such wonderful, wonderful things.